So if you have questions, hang on in a minute. We'll pull all that up and we'll cover the poll and everything as well. So welcome to Make Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes. We're going to dive into Dead City episode 101, a spoiler-free breakdown of our thoughts and opinions. So kicking it off, I did like the intro, how it really had a classic 1970s George Romero zombie vibe to it. And I think it had to do with the point of view through the little telescope thing she's looking at. What is this called? I used to know it too. I mean, that's not a scope. Oh man. They use that in the military too, don't they? I used to know what that is, and it's driving me nuts. All right, so moving on. So we jumpstart to one of my flaws. I know a number of people had. I had this job with work. I actually went into this house, and a couple was watching the episode, and I was fixing something, and I heard them talk in the very beginning of this. And it's funny because then I was over a family member's house and they were starting this episode. I reminded them, oh, hey, you could watch it early. Here's my account, yada, yada, yada. And they put it on, and everyone said, me, the stranger, and the family member said the same shit. Pretty much was she sees zombies and then she ducks and hides. But then they have this moment where she's raging out. And she's freaking, and she's like, brah, 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 brah. I gotta put the fan on. But, like, that part got me. And I kind of wish, and they don't have to do it like that. Imagine having Maggie in this emotional moment where she's raging, but she has to keep that, like, that scream at bay. So she's just doing, like, this grunt and rage instead of lowering. And again, it's just stupid because the zombies are right there, yet they mute her scream on purpose, but she's clearly screaming. So it's kind of one of those things where that and the quiet zombies, they do it a number of times, and I'm not really sure why the fuck they do it, because it just comes off as stupid. Oh man, it's unplugged. You gotta be shitting me. The fan might be a little loud, but I need a little bit of air. Let me take these off as well. This is friggin' hot in here. All right, so her meeting up with Negan, for me, it wasn't anything mind-blowing. It was just simply, oh, she's been hunting him down. There's a couple lines of dialogue with the so-and-so looking for, and I kind of wanted something of weight there, yet at the same time, if the story and the plot has all the weight, them getting linked up together, I guess it really doesn't matter. But essentially, the idea is the person who took Herschel is someone who used to be a savior, and she heard whistling, and I mean, there's still a chance for them to turn it around, and I'm like, okay, that is super cool. But the villain that they're showing, I know the actor, he's been in stuff before, he's done really well in stuff before, but I just didn't get any intimidation stuff from him. I just didn't get a tight connection between Negan and this former associate. I don't know. I mean, like, maybe if there was something in the storyline of to make it clear that, you know, the former savior really adopted a lot of Negan's, ways, and he kind of looked up to Negan. Maybe if there was something like that mixed in there, I'd have a little more connection to it, but it's not doing a whole bunch for me. I know they need to introduce people, but it did feel like this episode was bogged down with some introductions. I don't really see that as a huge negative because this is an introduction episode. You're going to see some environments like the bar here, which again seems to be a little bit of a mix of positive and negative because we're years into the zombie apocalypse, yet we still see people hanging around this bar in wife beaters and clothing that's a bit ridiculous if you're dealing with post-apocalypse. I don't want them to go crazy Mad Max. I think that's been a little generic over the times when it comes to zombie apocalypse, but I do want to see some of them have, maybe certain pads where they go to sit at the bar, or they go to do something, and, someone puts on like something that it's clear, like, okay, that's that has, something for their water, something for maybe even, not toilet paper, but you get what I'm saying, like something that shows it's a go bag. This person has some armor. This person clearly has, meat that they're dried out. This person is in layers because you can go from a hot sunny day to a cold as hell nighttime. You know what I mean? Like different added stuff, especially being from up north, up by New York. I was born and raised in northeastern Pennsylvania. I know for a fact that it's hot in the day and you only get a few moments of summer, like 2 months of summer, maybe less. It's hot in the day, and this is in summertime, middle of summer, but it's chilly and breezy at night. If it's not summer, it's freezing at night. It's always freezing at night, unless you're in a really good night. We don't see layers on them. We don't see a realistic, organic look to them. That's some more nitpicky stuff, but if it was included, that's some of the smaller things that would make me go, make me get a little more hype for some of the visuals and the layers to the storytelling. Even Negan meeting with Maggie, I was really kind of hoping Maggie would tell Negan, I could get the bounty hunter off your back, and she kind of lied to him to bring him along. I was a little bit hoping for a little more in depth with their connection. I just want to mention that. But there's one moment here where we see this a lot in Walking Dead. I made fun of it recently in Fear, this moment right here, where this girl that Maggie knows is coming around the corner, and Maggie sees her, immediately identifies it's her, but still continues to pull out her knife as if the knife is a gun. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I get it, it's like a weapon, but it doesn't matter. The girl's like 50 feet away. And by the time she even sees her, identifies it's her, she's still pulling out a knife, but she knows her. And the girl's like, whoa, easy, it's me. Of course it's you. Maggie has eyes. I mean, what are we doing? A little story like that. This moment, though, on a positive note, showed me what I love about some of the environments and hanging out with these characters in the environments. But they did throw in music to kind of lead your emotions. Not a big fan of that, but if they can sit here, play, there's 2 times, one during the day and one at nighttime, where they play the background with the insects and the gravel and the sound of nature. They have that. If they can just linger on that a bit, and then, show the girl sleeping in the truck, move over to Maggie and Negan, the sun's going down, they're having a conversation, sharing a drink, slow it down a bit, just really grab onto the nature. That's some of the stuff that I fell in love with the original show. And they almost had it in this scene. It felt, I don't know, for me it felt like a connection to like the old Walking Dead. It felt real pleasant. Yeah, right here, this scene here. Girl comes out. She immediately sees it's her, but still pulls this. Whoa, hold on. Like, come on. What are we doing here? The showcasing the bounty hunter was he's on this morality law, yada, 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 yet you can see his, I don't want to call it evil, because if you have a law to punish this, that, and the third, but it does come off as evil, even though if they have laws to, it feels like it is a law, but you're pretty much forcing these people to be in the law. This isn't something where they came together and said, we don't have the information, but again, that's kind of how it's coming off, because these people are scared as if this is a villain showing up. Not just simply this is the law showing up, and then we see why she gets fed to the zombies. I'm cool with that. So they have their little run-in with the bounty hunter, and this is what leads them together. And you got Negan and Maggie essentially hunting down Herschel, but then you have the bounty hunter on their ass. This dynamic is positive. It's only the first episode. We only have one little showdown, and I'm wondering if there's going to be more coming up with the bounty hunter, because he knows who Maggie is. He mentioned Maggie in the bar when he was talking about them, and this is what got me a little bit excited, because then I was thinking, oh man, if they do something really cool with this bounty hunter and how he's connected, I wasn't all that blown away by the connection, because he's simply looking for Negan because Negan killed some other bounty hunters. Now, I was really hoping they were going to go for something like some survivors from Negan's old community ended up in the bounty hunters' new community, New Babylon. And New Babylon is a community that's on the rise, but it's close to breaking. People are almost done with law and order. And this guy's like, his whole mission is making law and order succeed in Babylon, the New Babylon. And that's like his whole focus. And there's people in the community that know of Negan from the past. That's how he heard the story. But also, if he could track down and bring the Negan back, an escaped convict from an old community that's no longer exists in Alexandria. And again, make this the lore of Negan. He was a dictator. You have survivors in your group, and he escaped that community. He already, when you tried to bring him in once, he already killed 2 or 3 other bounty hunters. So you have like this massive, like, if he brings Negan in, his community that's almost on the edge of collapse because of chaos and, giving up on the law and order, if his community, and this is in his head, if his community sees that he brought Negan in, the notorious, the infamous Negan, then in his eyes, his community will just, what's the word I'm looking for? Starts with an R. But they'll just go nuts, and they'll revel around, what he's done, and this will save his community in that aspect as far as being nailed down with the structure of law and order. They could do something similar, but as of right now, he's simply hunting Negan down because Negan killed a couple people from his a couple old bounty hunters. We get to New York. I love the atmosphere, love the look of it, love the gross out scenes with the roaches. I'm a little mixed on the bounty hunter because at one moment it looks like he cares for his people, but then in the next moment he shot his guy and he was like, whatever. That threw me off a bit. I like characters that are a little more layered, and the bounty hunter seemed layered, but at this point in time, he's just coming off as one-dimensional. That's it. Just like, I'm kind of evil. I'm supposed to be... and we see Hollywood do this at times where he represents the law, but he's evil, and sometimes it doesn't even make sense. So we'll see where that goes. They could turn it around, but then even Maggie's like, I need him to help me save my son. And he doesn't even think twice to kill this innocent woman. The woman didn't do anything to him. As far as he's aware, this woman, I might have missed it, but the woman has done nothing whatsoever. It's interesting, though, when they get there, seeing the zombies fall from the ceiling. I thought that was pretty cool. And I had something, we'll talk about it when I talk about Doomsday Kingdom, but that's something that I had incorporated in Doomsday Kingdom, where bodies randomly fell from if you figure you get skyscrapers, something's bound to happen. And I think that is so wicked, where you're walking on the streets and suddenly, a human victim or zombie or whatever comes just crashing down on the pavement, or in this case it was a car. I dig it. They put their backs to this building, and this was like classic zombie genre shit, where you see the zombie come up on the glass. The app is going to act up now, so it's going to be hard for me to really go on to some scenes. For some reason, AMC Plus is shit when it comes to that. Whether you pause it or skip a little forward and back, it just goes to hell. I was like, where's that music coming from? Anyhow, being in New York, I do want to see more of it. Absolutely. There seems to be like this old lady. It's real weird because at one moment she's crawling around up top, but then I think she like blows out the match where Negan and Maggie lights the match. And Maggie fighting as well. I love that she has to put up a fight. And when she gets pinned down, it's not like Rosita in season 11, 10, whatever, where they didn't even care about the they didn't give a shit about the show whatsoever. And Rosita, 100 pounds, throws a grown man off her on her back. Like, Maggie's on her back and she's trapped. So she has to actually rip her necklace off and hit the guy over the eyes or the face or something. I like that. That was cool. Absolutely. We got a ton of zombies in the city. It looks like they have alleyways that are trapped to kind of tunnel people in the certain directions. I like all that. They have some gizmo. It looked like a fork truck or something. So something's going on as far as people know that they're there. And then that old lady, it's a bit of a mystery how that connects. But then we jump over to Herschel. The actor was only on screen for a minute, maybe 30 seconds as far as his speaking role and all that. And he came off with some good charisma. I'm really pulling for him because if you think about it, honestly, Maggie and Negan are the characters we're here for. If it's not for Maggie and Negan, we're only here for New York. Let's be honest. If they did a Walking Dead show and it's Maggie, Negan, New York, if you take Maggie and Negan out of it, what do you have? New York. Zombies in New York. That's it. Let's hope there's new exciting characters. Now, imagine if they were able to do something with Glenn's son, Herschel, where he's not annoying, he's not shitty, respectful for his mother, wants to learn. There's a good back and forth between him and his mom. He's not some pissy little kid, but he's actually a character that you can grow and love, and you see some of the elements and some of the charm and charisma from Glenn that you loved from that character. This could be a very, very promising legacy character that could end up being, the standout season 2, 3, 4 character if they continue to go on. We don't know the future of this series, but he has a lot of potential, but it's all up to the actor, the charisma, and probably as important, how he's written and what kind of story they give for him. So, but then the final character is just simply a bad guy doing bad shit. I don't really care. I think his ears all burnt up. This idiot escapes and it's weird. I watched the scene 3 times. He runs around the back and he jumps on a zip line. And I believe this is only to introduce the zip line for the rest of the season. And that's unfortunate where we have certain elements that are in there just to set things up. And it feels like the scene's slapped together a bit because he zip lines past them. It's so weird. They're looking at him. And the guy runs but all of a sudden they're behind him now, unless I'm just not getting the angle of the shot. And then he zip lines past them. Now keep in mind, he's in front of them. And then he runs, and it looks like he runs behind them, but there's no way because the way it's set up, it's too goofy. But then he gets behind them and zip lines past them. And there's a lot of dumb shit here. Some of the camera work, it didn't give the feel that he was trapped, but you get the idea because of how he was moving in only certain ways. He was trapped. I wish the camera work was better in that regard. And then the second thing is him ziplining past them. I was thinking well, why would he do that? They're just gonna cut the line. And literally, as soon as that thought finished formulating, the bad guy cuts the line. And I was like, what the fuck are we doing? So maybe it's a moment where, and again, it's a moment where I thought, well, it's kind of stupid, but, the guy's tortured. Maybe he was, sleep deprived. Oh, geez, I'm sleep deprived. And, maybe he wasn't all there and he jumped on the zip line out of sheer desperation and he's worn out. He made a stupid mistake. All right. We can make excuses for it, but it still came off as a little bit goofy. So we'll see how that plays out with the ultimate villain, if they can actually do something to make him intimidating and scary and whatever else they're going to do with him. But I know there's a couple more things, more nitpicky things, both positive and negative, that I can get into, but that's pretty much it for my overall thoughts and opinions. The episode did not blow me away. Excuse me. It did not blow me away. It did not make me re-fall in love with The Walking Dead like the first time watching the series. However, it probably for the first time in years, it gave me a positive feeling watching an episode of The Walking Dead. And it gave me hope that the next 5 episodes that follow could honestly be a combination of good at the very least to fantastic, especially later on when it builds up some. So I'm actually excited to check out the next episode and to check out the rest of the season at this point in time. And I'm looking forward to talking about it. I was excited to get this stream going because it's probably the first time in years I was honestly, even in the season 10 and 11, there was a few episodes where I was like, oh, yeah, I dig this. But so many episodes surrounding it were so lame that even when you liked an episode, it didn't matter because you're never going to watch it again because everything else around it, all the connective threads suck. So I'm really pulling for it so that way we actually have a spin-off that I can watch. All the other spin-offs are trash in my eyes. So I'm hyped. I wish the best for it. I did a mini review of Fear. It is ass. It is trash. I did a spoiler review of it. It's already on the channel. Go check it out. It is a joke. I love the concept of what they did with Morgan at the end on the walkie-talkie, but outside of that concept, it's a joke. It's embarrassing. I don't even know how they wrote it, filmed it. They did an edit of it. It's awful. But let's hope Dead City is gonna stay consistent from good to great for the rest of this season.